I have a confession to make. I haven't practiced what I preach, and if I'm being honest, I've been a bad dog trainer and dog owner. Now, towards the end of last year, my dog Sully's training had never been better. We were making huge strides with his gun dog training, his obedience, and he had never been better dialed in. Then I had a minor incident, and by minor I mean I fully tore my Achilles heel in half. I was stuck in a cast, then stuck in a special boot for months, and then I need to do 6 months of physio. During that same time, I also happened to move house and we started a full house renovation. And long story short, I haven't trained my own dogs a fraction of what I usually do or should do. And frankly, their standards have slipped way beyond what's acceptable for me. But that changes today. I'm back able to walk, the doctor has signed me off to do some light work with dogs again, so today I want to show you the first day of me getting my own dog dialed back in where I need him.
Now, we always start with walking. It's no secret if you follow me for any amount of time that loose lead heel walking is the crux, is the foundation of everything that I do with dogs. But even myself, when we've taken the foot off the gas, when I've had other people walk Sully, this is not acceptable for me. Yes, we're still on a loose lead. He's not dragging me. It's not a huge problem. And although he's never going to be a world champion gun dog, we might want to have a bit of fun in his retirement, maybe do a bit of novice competition. That isn't good enough. And you can see he's kind of checked himself a little bit there, but then he's drifting out in front. And when he's in front of me, he's not as aware of me. And when we're working with high level behavior cases and he's helping me as a role model dog, this isn't good enough. So, as I recommend to every single one of my clients, I practice what I preach. But you see that how I came to a stop, he wasn't aware of me, and he's drifted right out in front of me. So, practicing what I preach. First things first, I'm going to get my lead in a much better place, and we're going to do my good old-fashioned tune-up drill. Bit of a magic green circle game. Whenever he's in this position here, he's going to get rewarded. Sully's favourite reward is the good old ruffle behind the ear. He knows he's being a good old boy. However, if he's too far in front, we're going to handle that. If he's drifting off to the side, we're going to handle that. If he's drifting behind, we're going to handle that. So we're going to start with a tune-up drill. A little bit of pressure because he's in front of me. He wasn't paying attention. He wasn't aware. So again, we're going to go again. Outside turns. And as is beautiful when it comes to these kinds of things, I had absolutely no idea that we've got 2 horses and an off-lead dog coming. So let's use this as an opportunity to work on this. So I'm dialing him up. I'm going to bring him off. Sully, sit. We're going to work on some impulse control. So we're going to stay in this moment, and I'm going to expect sit.
Go on.
You're all right.
Come on, something. Wait, get here. Oi. Get here.
Sit. Good. Good. I'm going to carry on straight into that. Now that is a beautiful example of a real life situation happening right there. Off-lead dog without enough control has come running over to Sully, who was on lead in a sit and stay. That was very difficult for him, but I had my expectations set high of, even though in this moment this is happening, what do you do in a situation like that? It's a bit of a lose-lose, really. They are completely in the wrong. She does not have enough control over her dog to be able to allow that dog to be off lead. She is very lucky that this is a dog that has no aggression and is great with other dogs. But what if this was one of my guarding mastiff breeds that doesn't want an obnoxious dog sniffing over it? What if my dog then told that dog off? Who's in the wrong in those situations? They are problems that you need to learn to navigate, and the reality is there's often not a very good way to navigate it appropriately and safely. But we're going to continue moving, we're going to continue rolling. In terms of how that could have gone, that could have been a lot worse. I decided to stay calm in that moment. If that was an aggressive dog or a dog that was causing more issues for Sully, I would have stepped in. And by stepping in, I mean literally stepped in. That dog would have had a bit of a size 12 boot, shuffling it on and getting it out of the way if it was causing an issue. You have to be able to do that for your dog. Or again, if that was one of my mastiff breeds, that is exactly what I would have done immediately to ensure that that didn't go sideways. Again, luckily it's Uncle Sully, who's an absolute legend. But we're going to get back to this tune-up drill, and you should see now that even though that real situation happened, I would expect, because we've done a little bit of a tune-up, that this is way better than where we were. So now when I do these inside turns, he's more focused on me. He's more aware of me. When I do these outside turns, he knows where I am. And if we retest me stopping, he stops with me. And again, Uncle Sully has a nice auto sit, which is lovely. Whereas if we rewind back to the start of just a few minutes ago, he wasn't paying enough attention and he drifted out in front of me. However, now, just with a little bit of a tune-up, and I just literally do this just a few minutes, now he's back with me, we're back engaged, way better. This is the first thing that I want to deal with. The walking is now loads better. We've not had to use any heavy lead pressure, just dialed a few things back into his auto sit, good. And he gets his ruffle behind the ear. This is much better. This is where I need him to be. If I'm working with a client, I have this kind of space here. I can control the space. I can control spatial pressure if I needed to, and I can handle situations if I need to. That is the tune-up drill. That's going to be the first part. We're going to be working on that all week. But as I expected, that's always going to go better. Some of the more advanced stuff we're going to move on to later today is a little bit more difficult, but absolutely in your wheelhouse, isn't it, Uncle Sully? So should we go and have some more fun? So once we've got the walking nicely to heel sorted with my tune-up drill, I like to come out to my training paddock, and I've got my obstacle course, that many of you might see before, and I use this for my own dogs all the time. Now, this isn't to teach Sully agility, it's all about teaching him to literally overcome obstacles by following my guidance and direction. So I want him to be able to navigate all of these issues and be in this frame of mind of doing it with me and following me. This again, it's not about sport, it's not about teaching him fancy agility, it's about the relationship that this builds. Yes, as a behaviourist, having access to this on my own is a lovely thing. It's a nice thing to be able to have, but you can absolutely do budget versions of this. I recommend people going to your local skate park and doing this exact kind of thing with your dog. You can go up and down some of the kickers, over some of the ramps, over some of the grind bars. Make it fun though, make it fun with your dog. When you get them in these elevated positions, use it as a good opportunity to be able to tell them that they're good, have a nice moment with them, and move with them. We're going through life together. Whenever you come across something difficult, just trust me, follow me, look up to me, and everything will be fine. And when you put reps and reps in on this exact situation, your relationship builds. And again, it's got nothing to do with this obstacle, but it's got everything to do with when a situation in life, like when a horse, people with horses come by, or foreign dogs come running over to us that we don't know, and he's a bit unsure, and a situation happens that he doesn't know what to do, he's had reps and reps and reps of understanding that how we overcome difficult challenges is by trusting me as his loving leader. So we always work on this. This is similar to my tune-up drill, but tune-up drill is very much specific for walking by my side. It has nice leadership ramifications. This is all about leadership and us working together and learning to trust me. Now, he doesn't like this one and he's going to want to jump off. This is perfect. Again, we haven't done this for a little while, so he now needs to learn to trust me that it's okay. He doesn't like the rickety bridge. Yeah, good boy. But we go over it together. We don't avoid it. We don't ignore it. We don't make our own decisions. Trust me and everything's going to be okay. That is going to lead to the amazing relationship dial up that even myself with Uncle Sully and the relationship we have, break. I need to make sure I'm topping up with him. And activities like this are incredibly powerful to be able to do so. Right, so now we've covered some of the basic day-to-day things, our leadership, our loose lead walking. I want to now move into some of the more advanced stuff that I've been working on with Sully. Now, we were making huge progress over the last year with Sully's gun dog work. For those of you that don't know, Sully's about 7, he's going to turn 8 very soon, and he's always been my role model dog. He's never worked in gun dog stuff, but fetch has been his favourite thing in life. And now I'm starting to phase him out of being a role model dog because he's getting a bit old and it's quite a lot for him. I want him to retire to the favourite thing in life, which is some good old-fashioned gun dog training. So last season, he actually started coming out on shoots. We'd worked on his gun shyness. It was going brilliantly. But we noticed one big problem. Sully will only fetch something if I have thrown it, then he'll go and get it and bring it me back. which isn't ideal if you're going out on actual shoot days and a bird lands over there. I'll send him to it and he'll just sniff at it, but he doesn't have that picture that what I want from him is to bring that back. If I was to get that bird and to throw it, he'd happily go and get it and bring it back. So we're going to start working on that, getting him ready for this season coming up this year. And we're also simultaneously going to be working on his impulse control. So in this session, we're going to be working on two things. Number one, when this dummy gets thrown, he still has to wait for me to send him before he can go and get it. That might not happen, and if it doesn't, you will watch live as we work that problem. But secondly, I'm not going to throw this dummy. Ben's going to come in and he's going to stand near us. And the idea is that Sully is going to see this dummy. As you can see, he is raring to go. Is going to get given to Ben. Stay. So he's now knowing the dummy's there. Obviously, I've lost the interest. And what we now need to do is I'm going to have Ben throw it in just a second. I'm going to expect him to wait until I tell him he can go and get it. And then I want him to bring it back to me. Now, a few things can go wrong here. Number one, as soon as Ben throws it, he runs over and gets it. That happens, we'll deal with it and we'll work through it. Number two, he does wait until I tell him he can go. However, he picks it up and brings it back to Ben. In that situation, Ben's going to go completely dead. He's not going to look at him. He's not going to talk to him. He's not going to touch him. And I'm going to draw Sully into me. And we're going to start building this picture that no matter where the retrieval item comes from, when I tell you to go and get it, you bring it me back. Over time, the distance between me, Sully, and Ben will get bigger and bigger. Eventually, Ben will be hiding behind some trees and he can throw the dummy up and over the tree so it comes out of nowhere, and Sully has that picture built up of when you see something land and I tell you to go and get it and bring it me back. It doesn't have to come from my hand. So you're watching this live, no idea how this is going to go. I'm going to be fair to him and give him a real good opportunity. My expectations are that he should stay without me telling him to, but I'm going to make sure he understands. Sully, stay. Now he's going to watch Ben throw the dummy. Stay. So he was desperate to go then, which is why I gave him another stay. So I want to set him up for success. Sully. He's going to go and get the item. Now we're going to see who he brings it back to. Good boy. Sully. Yes, good. Good. Sit. Now he dropped it. He didn't deliver it to hand. Again, it's my fault. I've not trained him since I did my Achilles injury and gun dog work. All of that stuff we can build up. He nearly came back into a nice heel. And did you notice how he kind of wanted to bring it back to you? But then I kind of helped him a little bit and he brought it back. So stay. You want to take one step to the left, Ben. And we're just going to slowly build this up. Sully, stay. Sully. And again, let's watch this play. So he's got the item. Let's see where he wants to take it back. Yes, good boy. Good boy. Help him come into my heel position. Sit. Good. Good hold. Good hold. Drop. Yeah, good boy. That was really nice. And that's it. We're going to kind of finish that session there on a real good high. Couple of things we could see to clean up on. I'm glad we're not pushing it. Break. And again, he's going to want this, but I'm not going to let him have this now because this only comes out when we're training, when we're having fun. And again, he's desperate. He wants it. But if I give him free access to this, it kind of ruins the allure of any of the work that we're doing. And I want to save that work for any time in which we're working together in that game. So he understands when the boots come on or when the tweed come out, he knows that it's time to have fun, it's time to work together, and his favourite thing in life is something that we do together when I bring it out, when I introduce the game. And I need him to be calm, relaxed, and well-mannered for us to instigate that game. Now, the next thing we're working on is always threshold manners. Now, threshold isn't just doorways, but for me, it's staircases as well. And now, like I mentioned earlier, I recently did a full rupture of my Achilles, so I have to be really careful with things like stairways in particular, so that I don't re-rupture it while it's healing. But this is something that I want to make sure we're always working on, and I was ready to dial this in, but this is exactly what this should look like. I've not talked to him, I've not told him that I want this, but because of that work we've done earlier today, this respect for not charging in front of me has already been dialed. And he's respected that it's taken me longer to kind of get down the stairs than usual, but he hasn't charged past me. And that was beautiful. If he did charge past me because things have got a little bit sloppy, I was going to handle it. But then as you can see here, he's waiting for me to come, and then he follows me out the door. And that's a classic example of threshold manners. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like in reverse. Again, if I was coming back in, you can formalize it, and I could put him in a sit stay. But also, I need to be able to open this door and for him to wait to come in with me. Now again, he's much more excited about going out and doing whatever it is that we're about to do than going back in. But again, you can see here, he really wants to come out, but he's making good decisions, and you saw him check and he caught himself. I don't like that he's pushed past me a little bit. That's why I've used a little bit of lead pressure, reclaiming this space. Now we'll exit when I'm ready to exit. And that's just some basic threshold manners. Now that is stuff that I do with my dogs by habit, 24/7, always. But like I say, he's been living with my parents for a couple of weeks while we've been doing the house move and the house renovation. Not the kind of thing that they remember to do all the time. So when he comes back to me, I just have to dial those things back up. But when you make these things habit, when you make these things routine, that's loads easier to do than having to try and unpick bad behaviours from the get-go. Now exactly the same thing applies here. As we're coming into my training facility, he needs to wait. As we're coming in here, again, this will be a good opportunity. He knows really fun things happen in here, so it'll be interesting if I open this gate, whether he wants to charge through, which he doesn't. This is lovely. Good boy, looking up to me for guidance and direction. Yep, let's go in. And that is a really good example of threshold manners. He was getting ready to do his auto sit. All absolutely lovely, all stuff that I'm really, really happy with. Now, if I pop him up on the stage, Sully up, good boy. Sully, sit. Good boy, stay, wait there. And now we're in here, we're going to be doing just dialing in some obedience work, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But now we're in my training kind of centre and my training facility. It's a good opportunity for us to talk about why some of these obedience things for Sully in particular are really important. I am a behaviourist, and we work with extreme behaviours here at my centre. And if I'm working with a dog and I've got Sully out as a role model dog helping me, I need to be able to know that if something's going wrong or that dog's incredibly aggressive, that I can send Sully somewhere and that he'll stay there while I'm dealing with a potentially quite dangerous situation. And that's one of the most important skills that he needs to have. So that's definitely going to be something that as we're kind of dialing his training back in today, that I'm going to be focusing on. We've done some basics, we've done some of the more fun stuff with gun dog training, but this is serious for me. And this is a situation that allows me to keep him safe, the dogs that I'm working with here in my centre safe, as well as the other people that we're working around safe. So this is an incredibly important thing for me that he needs to be able to do and do incredibly reliably. So I'm going to show you exactly what this kind of session looks like. And I've been waiting for Sully to start getting distracted like this. And I can Sully, place. And I start at a nice close distance, stay. And then I'm going to move away. And now he knows if I've asked him to place, he stays. We've had a seminar here over the weekend, so there's been loads of different dogs here, which is what he's sniffing and interested in, but that's genuinely good distraction training for us. And in this situation, we're going to be building kind of his impulse control and his duration, and then over time, I'm going to build the distance in which I send him to the place board. But what you'll notice is that with this training, I'm actually not using any treats. As I come over and I'm going to do a check-in with him, I am just going to come in and give him a bit of a rustle behind the ear, just as a little bit of a reward, a little bit of a reinforcer to let him know that he's doing a good job. The reason I don't use treats with Sully in this kind of training is because I need to understand that this is never a bartering situation. This is never, I'll do it if you've got treats. This is, like I say, can be emergency situations. So this would be a bit of training where I would utilize things like spatial pressure or lead pressure if required to make sure that we keep this really high levels of success, because this is genuinely a difference between a disaster happening. So at this kind of time now, Sully break, good boy, good boy. And he wants to come back into me. So even though I've broke him, which is go and do whatever you want, I like that he's always wanting to draw into me, which is nice. And then at different periods, I'm going to get a little bit further away. Sully place. Yes, good boy. And he does have an implied stay, but I also kind of have my hand signal and I do have a stay command. That's a kind of topic for a different discussion. But again, we're just going to be working this up. And as we start to progress, and this is the thing again, the gun dog thing, it's fun. The loose lead training, it's quite easy. This for me is such a serious thing that we take our time with this. So we build up kind of the duration of the stay, which for Sully is already good. Once I've got him there, I'm not concerned. You saw how good his impulse control is with the gun dog thing, with something that is like intrinsic into the very fibre of his soul to go and chase that retrieval dummy earlier, and he can control that impulse. So once I've got him there, I'm not too concerned about the impulse control of him staying there. For me, it's about having that ability to send him there under high distraction. So again, we've got a nice quiet day at the centre here. We wrapped up a big seminar over the weekend. We haven't got any dogs in. And these are the kind of things that me and my team of trainers are working on with our own dogs when we're here. Again, break. Good boy. He's a good boy. And he wants to come and get his reward, and checking in with me always results in this kind of ear scratch. And as you can see, our little tail's wagging. And this is Sully's favourite thing because he looks up to me as his loving leader. He'll go and have a little sniff, and this will be a good example. So I'm just going to start building up that distraction level. There's randomly a stick on the floor. Sully, place. Good boy, yes. It's a little bit slower than I like, but we have done a lot today, and that gun dog training has tired him out. Good. Because that is a situation in which, again, if there's multiple people here, if there's seminars here, if there's lots of people here, there's more dogs going on, I always need that ability to be able to send him, which is why you'll notice in the corner of my videos, there's always place beds. So there's 2 here on each side. I have another one at the end of the runway. I have sofas, so his place can be onto the raised platform there. It can be onto these raised beds. It can be onto the stage, and it can be onto a sofa. At any point in which something is going on, I don't have a lead on Sully, or I don't want him here because I need to go into a dangerous situation, I can point and send him there and trust that he's going to stay there. So that's going to be a huge part of the training. Now, again, the reality is that good dog training like this often isn't glamorous and it isn't fancy, but it's putting these repetitions in over and over again, being honest with yourself of when things might have slipped, which, like I say, due to my life circumstances recently, things have slipped a little bit with Sully. He is still an excellent dog, but for my requirements from him and from my very high expectations, I have to keep putting in the work. And if I let him spend time with people who let him get away with things that I wouldn't, he's still a dog. He's going to learn those easy pathways to get what he wants, which then means the expectations and the behaviour will slip. So I need to come back in and dial those things up to be able to get him back where I need him. So that is exactly the kind of training that I do when I've slipped myself as a dog trainer. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting kind of coming on and seeing behind the scenes of a little bit of my personal dog training rather than with one of my clients' dogs, or with an aggressive case or a reactivity case or a pulling case, or you name it, with what you're used to seeing here on this channel. Subscribe if you do like it. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. It's a bit longer, a bit behind the curtains, where I can explain things a little bit more. But either way, we'll see you on the next video. Break. Boy. He's a good boy.